Hi, for the third episode of Head in the Game, I am excited to be joined today by Jossie Hudson, one of my college year teammates. Hi, Josie, welcome to Generous Mind. How are you?
Hi. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. We both attended the University of Evansville. You are from Evansville, right?
I am, yeah.
So, staying in your hometown for college, what do you think are the advantages of being close to home versus going outside of state?
So that was honestly like a major reason for why I stayed in Evansville. I'm a very much a family-oriented individual, and my family has always been my biggest support. And it was really important to me as well as to them to show up for myself and support me through my entire college career. So, based on that, as well as playing college ball during COVID time, being around family really had a huge impact because without their support, I don't know if I would have made it through college ball.
What do you think made COVID so, like how it changed basketball before and after COVID?
Before COVID, I felt like there was just so much more physical presence at the games. There was a lot more cheering. It didn't seem so closed off. It was just a great environment. As soon as COVID hit, as like players, we were only allowed two guests in the stadium. So seats were empty. The atmosphere just seemed like dead all the time. So if the bench didn't have the energy to keep the players engaged in the game and like kind of hyped up, it was really difficult to have that game day like mentality. Since then, it's been a little bit better, especially with the movement of women's sports becoming like more popular. But during that COVID time, man, it was definitely tough, especially like with constantly having to get tested and wearing masks during practice, and it just didn't feel as personal as fun as it used to be. So I would say those are the biggest things.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy times during then.
Hmm.
Other than COVID, what injuries or struggles have you dealt with and how did you deal with them when you were a basketball player?
So throughout my college career, I had two different concussions. So that was probably like my biggest injury, as well as I had had a few sprained ankles, a lot of like maintenance, like routine back problems, as I feel like most college athletes probably have. But I really just like trusted in my athletic training staff as well as my physical therapy staff during those times as well. And without their support and their encouragement to keep on playing and having the like return to sport mindset, it was definitely tough when battling those injuries. But those like two staff like sections specifically like really helped push me through.
So you've been on a track to become a physical therapist.
Hmm.
Why did you choose this field? Does it have anything to do with like the injuries you've been through? And how did your experience as a player like influence your decision to go into this field or into healthcare?
So I am diagnosed with a spondylolisthesis in my low back. So when I first got told I had this, I was in the eighth grade, and they were like, "Oh, your back is fractured. It's broken. You might not be able to ever play like a sport ever again, especially like with how like high contact and like rough basketball can be." So I started going to physical therapy. I started seeing chiropractors. I was seeing athletic trainers, and they were like, okay, you really want to return to sport. You really want to continue playing ball. Like my goal had always been college athletics, whether it was in basketball or softball or whatever it might have been. But without those support systems really helping me like develop like a strong core and help stabilize my back, I wouldn't be in the position that I am today or like wouldn't have had the opportunity to go and play basketball. So they really impacted my life, and I was like, oh, I can totally relate to players when it comes to like injuries because I've been through that. I've been through like physical therapy. Like it is tough physically, mentally, like emotionally, like all the things. So just going into the career, like I feel like it's a stereotypical like response, like, oh, like I had physical therapy, I chose physical therapy, but like just being able to relate to those players like in an athletic mindset, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the field I want to go into because it want to like help other individuals like me.
Was that also one of the reasons you decided to stop playing after college, or how did that come about?
I have still been like pretty athletic like after college. I still do like college intramurals since I'm still like in a grad program and I have the opportunity to play pickup basketball and I play pickleball all the time and like different IM sports. So I still continue to be extremely active, but school definitely does have an impact on the amount of time that I can continue to play because I did get offered to take my COVID year, but school being my top priority, and I knew athletics wasn't going to be my end all be all like throughout life. I really just needed to be like career like oriented, like career mindset because like that's my future.
How does your background in basketball and all those sports you played in before college influence your approach of treating patients, especially athletes?
Since I had gone through a lot of weightlifting like programs as well as agility programs and return to sport, I can really hone in on like specifics and like understand a return to sport protocol. That's something that we're trained through like with school and like knowing like different timelines. Having ideas that aren't just like the basic sit-ups, do some planks. I can really tune it in to make it like related to specific actions that different athletes have. So instead of just doing like standing balance, have them kick a ball at the same time or have them throw a ball at the same time. And having that background of just like, oh, this is the intensity that they need to be at, while also prioritizing like not overworking their body, but prioritizing like specific like functional movements and motor control, like that's been the biggest like advantage that I've seen like throughout my program.
What kind of physical therapy do you want to pursue? Do you want to stay with athletics or focus on like disabilities or something else?
I've been kind of all over the place. Like I haven't been one to like settle on a specific specialty is the right word for it. So I've been really open to just like learning like new specialties as well. So something that I just realized is that with college athletics, especially like with women's sports, pelvic floor is extremely important. And I've been taking some like seminar classes and like doing some extra like educational opportunities like on that. So I would really be interested in athletics as well as like pelvic floor. The importance of like aquatic therapy is really good for athletes too, especially like when we're trying to return to sport from an injury, just so we're not getting that like consistent like reloading and stuff like that. But I've also been really intrigued in the neuro side of physical therapy. So, working with patients that have spinal cord injuries, strokes, other like specific neurological conditions. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm all over the place, but yeah, I would totally be interested in like still pursuing athletics.
Yeah, you still got time to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything you wish you knew about injury prevention or rehab while you were playing?
Yeah, I would say really focusing on like the preseason training. I think where a lot of athletes get injured is due to the overuse, like starting in preseason and not really like strengthening up. It's just kind of like we're full sent into a specific training style and not really like gradually pushed to get into like actual season shape. I think doing exercise or stretching like more intentionally before and after a practice or a weightlifting session. I think just me taking that more seriously would have been a lot better because like I would show up to practice like 5 minutes early and I'd be like, oh, I don't really need to like stretch or anything. Like I feel good today. And then my body's always hurting before and afterwards. So it's like, okay, just being more intentional with my actions definitely would have been a thing. But yeah, I think those are gonna be the biggest like things I wish I would have known, like starting off, like being intentional, working eccentrics just to help load the joint, and then just more of a gradual progression, just to not like have any type of like overuse or stress injuries.
Do you think there are any misconceptions that athletes have about injury recovery or physical therapy?
A lot of athletes just think it's like a couple of sessions and then you'll be like back to where you were starting. Like physical therapy is like not a cure-all and it's not going to be like an instant recovery type of thing. It's definitely a work in progress. Like your different parts of your body like take different like time increments to heal. So just again being intentional with your rehab and really like putting in the time to do your exercises 2, 3 times a day before and after practice. I think the biggest thing with athletes is just like, oh, it's kind of a waste of time. They're not seeing like instant like effects. So compliance and buy-in are probably like the hardest things to like really get out of your patients in any setting. But with athletes, you're constantly having to be like pounding your body and you don't want to move your body afterwards. So it's really hard to like try to get yourself disciplined enough to be consistent.
You called me out, so I was just taken aback a little bit.
I called myself out, B. It's okay.
How has your identity been affected after, like moving on from collegiate athletics to doing intramurals to just moving, do you see yourself as an athlete as you were before, or how your identity just changed?
My identity has definitely changed quite a bit. I feel like I've had like a pretty easy transition for the most part, going from athlete to like semi-student athlete with the intramurals to like just being like a typical like college student, aka like a NARP. But I've always known that my end goal has been my education and getting to physical therapy school and becoming a doctor of physical therapy. That's always been top priority in my list, but I constantly miss like having the camaraderie of like our team and like being competitive and having those athletic goals. So I like found myself like, oh, like let's go train for a half marathon. Like I ran the half marathon in Evansville like 2 weeks ago just because I needed like some sort of athletic goal and like some sort of competition with myself. I think that's kind of where like I've been struggling with my identity as like an athlete and like go like making that transition because like I still weightlift and I still like play the intramurals, but it's not like as competitive and it's not like I'm working to maintain almost not like to actually like excel in a certain area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you miss the competition? Is that like what you miss a lot or?
Yeah, I would say the competition was a big thing. Like just the energy of it, the energy of like the team supporting each other, cheering each other on, having like a group supporting you at all times. And yeah, honestly, like when COVID ended and we started having fans more, like our junior and senior year at UE, like we really had like a pretty big crowd. And like I was happy to say that as a local, I had quite a bit of family there and like just having all that support, just constantly being there for me. I would say that's one of the biggest things that I miss.
As a PT to be, what's your go-to rehab advice for common basketball injuries like ACL tears or ankle sprains?
Two of the biggest things are either lack of mobility or like motor control when it comes to lower extremities. And like, yes, a lot of those injuries do occur in the knee, but you've probably heard the term that like everything's connected. So an issue in the ankle or the hip could also cause those knee issues and like any of those like different patterns. So really just focusing on keeping your lower body mobile, especially your low back mobile is really important. So doing those extra stretches, like doing your foam rolling. For me, it was a lot of like hamstring and calf tightness, like that posterior chain. But then once you get that mobility, really focusing on motor control and learning how to use your body properly. Stability is really big. Like people joke about a single leg stance, like that's pretty easy, whatever. But like incorporating basketball or other sports into those single leg stances just to like help control and learn how to like orient your body. Like that is super important. Like you can probably look some things up online just to like kind of give like a baseline, but PTs have all sorts of ideas like when it comes to that, especially if it's a return to a specific sport.
Yeah, there you go, calling me out again.
Yeah. Again, I'm calling everyone out.
I
So,
know. There's this one difference that I've noticed between American and like PT back home in Czech.
yeah.
Uh, we focus on the whole body, and I feel like it's
Hmm.
becoming more and more evident in the States now too. But when I was like in rehab, it would always be focused on just the part that was hurting. And then when I
Hmm.
called my PT back home, they were like, "Oh, if your knee's hurting, is your hip okay? Is your back stiff and stuff like that?" So, do you think you wanna incorporate like the holistic idea
Oh,
into?
for sure. Yeah, for sure. So a lot of the reason why American PT probably does that is because of insurance and how like not great that is around here for the most part. So we have very limited time when it comes to PT. So insurance will likely only cover X amount of sessions. So when you go into PT, it's kind of like, okay, what's your top priority? What do we need to fix right now in this moment? And then as soon as that starts getting better, that's when we can start incorporating. So what I really like about the UE physical therapy program, shout out us, they incorporate very much a holistic kind of mindset. So we have a certain flow within our evaluation system that does look at everything from neck down to your single leg balance and then into your squat. So it's not just focused on that one specific like body part that you're coming in for. Like, yes, that is our top priority. And once we nip that, then we can start incorporating like the rest of the body because our main goal is making you functional and non-painful through your entire body. I would assume that's why we kind of don't have like a great rep here in the States just for that, but I would assume it's mainly due to insurance and the lack of time that we really have with the patient.
Everything's about money in America.
Right. It sucks.
What role do you think mental resilience plays in physical recovery, especially with like competitive athletes?
Honestly, I think it's like 80% of it. Everything is mental. It's really just based on your mindset when it comes to the recovery time and having the discipline to be like, all right, this is going to be a work in progress. You just have to stay strong until you can start actually doing return to sport. Knowing when to not push yourself, because I also think that's a problem with athletes as well. It's like they want to get back so quickly and the highest likelihood of getting injured is re-injury like after your initial injury. So just kind of having the mindset to listen to your body is also a huge factor into it as well. I would say like that's going to be the biggest thing.
How have you dealt with injuries prior to compared to now that you're more educated in rehabilitation?
Previous injuries, I feel like I solely just relied on the athletic training staff and the PTs to really just tell me what was wrong and not really listening to my body, noticing like what was wrong. Also relying on the coaches to be like, oh, you can like push yourself a little bit more, right? You can return to sport quicker, right? And that's also a flaw that I have seen in college athletics is just the push to get your players back into the game and not listening to them or the trainers or the PTs, and just like prioritizing the game, not so much the player. Being in PT school and having the time outside of athletics, I can really just be like, oh, today my back's hurting. I'm not gonna focus on exercises that are gonna trigger my back. Like I'm gonna really focus on that recovery aspect. Like I'm gonna focus on mobility, like really do like the feel good stuff. Whereas like in athletics, you don't really have the opportunity or time to really do that because you're constantly being pushed. I think now if I could change something in college athletics is really like just listening to your players or giving them like an extra day of rest or like if your team's like collectively all like hurting, have a little bit of like a lax practice. Like really still like focus, but make it more of like a mental day of like, oh, this is like how we're going to change plays or this is the mindset we need to have. Like take a different route because like again, basketball or like any athletics, it's a lot of mentality. It's not so much the physicality of it. So I think that's like a big thing that I think should personally change when it comes to athletics.
Yeah, that's
My little
true.
soap, yeah, my little soapbox right there.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just listening to athletes is a big thing now. I think that coaches need to be more aware of. Talking about athletes, what advice would you give to athletes who want to take care of their bodies long term?
Definitely just take care of yourself. Again, like being more intentional of like the prehab and also like post practice rehab because those are going to be so important. Focusing on proper hydration, proper nutrition, like that is really hard in athletics. Like we are burning a lot of calories throughout the day. We need to prioritize like healthy nutritional habits as well, like getting enough protein, getting enough like vegetables and vitamins, and like making sure um, all of your boxes are checked. Take the ice baths, like actually do the proper recovery. Like I know no one really likes them all that much, but like really being intentional, just taking care of your body, making sure that you get enough sleep. Because like I know that was something that I kind of put on the back burner. I was like, I'll have time to sleep like after I'm done with athletics. Like I don't need to sleep because I was focused more on school, sports. I worked a part-time job. I wanted to go out and hang out with friends. Like I put all of those as my top priority and sleep was just out the window. So like just it sounds pretty basic, but just doing the simple things is like really key when it comes to just proper recovery and maintenance for self.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I'm not in America anymore and like here in Europe, ice baths don't really exist, you know? Like we have a
Yeah.
trash can that we fill up with cold water, buy ice ourselves and put ice in there, and then that's our ice
Yeah.
bath, which you have like once every 2 weeks. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely would have taken more advantage of that if I,
Yeah, for
knew where
sure.
I was gonna go.
Yeah.
Um, and what about athletes considering their life after sports? What advice do you have to offer about career transitions?
I would say the important thing is just knowing that you have time. It is a scary transition, especially like if you really haven't thought about your career and like fortunately like I kind of knew I wanted to go into PT since I was like in eighth grade here. So like I kind of had a pretty good roadmap, but I was also that extra planner of I need like this is my backup career if I don't do well in PT. This is going to be my backup career if I don't do well in that career. But that's just me being me. I know it is a scary step to really take, but know that you have time. You have so much of your life to really explore and discover what you really prioritize, find your passion. A lot of people might not know what that is quite yet, but just really taking the time to reflect on your goals, your aspirations, set a goal for 5 years, set a goal for 10 years, and like really try to make that happen. Take the time to explore life, go travel, like if that's something that you want to do. And also know that if you do pick a career path right out the gate, that doesn't have to be your end all be all. You can change. And that's something that I also have to reflect on in my future careers. Like I could go down treating neuro patients, but I could also swerve back into athletics or I could try my hand in something else. Just taking any opportunity that presents itself because you'll have a learning lesson that comes out of it regardless. And then you'll kind of learn what you like, what you don't like, and then you'll make connections along the way. So just don't be afraid to experience what opportunities present itself. So I would say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, if you have nothing in life, you always have time to figure it out.
Right.
What is the best advice you have gotten from a coach or a mentor or a friend?
I feel like there's been so many great things that have been presented to me, but I guess my mindset of taking the opportunities that present itself have been a consistent thing that's been reiterated. But just there was one quote that was on our wall at UE, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it said, but it was along the lines of this opportunity is a privilege. Don't take it for granted. It was something along those lines of it's not your right to be here, but taking the opportunity to be a college athlete and having the opportunity to go further in school and getting that paid for, that is a privilege. Or I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
Just not taking anything for granted and really just count your blessings and take every opportunity with stride because we are considered 1% of the population. There's so many people that would die to be in our shoes. So the fact that we got the opportunity to do that is really just incredible. And regardless of how your experience was, like positive or negative, or that kind of in between, just taking all of that experience and learning from it. And hopefully that'll make you into the best version of yourself and really just leading a life of example from that. So
I love that.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for joining me today,
Yeah,
and
of
I
course.
wish you all the best in your future endeavors. I can't wait to see where you end up.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, B.